Hi, everyone. It is such a delight to see you all, albeit, of course, in a Zoom room, but it is fantastic to have you all signing up and joining us for the first episode of our Young Energy Talks. My name is Mari Brommer. I am the CEO of the International Geothermal Association, and I am the host for today's episode. Where we kick off the connection and the connector point between the youth, our young professionals, and the voice of that youth, and our senior leadership coming from the geothermal industry. In Beijing, a couple of weeks ago, where we convened World Geothermal Congress, I was blown away by an afternoon filled with almost 100 youth members who came together and talked about the importance of geothermal energy, the call to action, and also a call to action for the IGA to really convene and structure and channel the youth and letting them heard, and making them heard and making their voice be amplified throughout the world of geothermal. And here we are. This is the pioneer session. We're kicking this off, and I am delighted with my two pioneering ambassadors that have joined me today for the first time and kicking off this session. First and foremost, coming and representing our youth committee, our youth forum, but also Africa in general, Jessie Nyokabi, it is such a huge pleasure to have you here for the first time on our show. So a warm welcome to you, and I'll come back to you in a sec for your introduction. And representing senior leadership, executive leadership, Sólrún, Kristjánsdóttir, CEO of Veitna, Reykjavíkur Energy, based in Iceland, but also IGA board member. It is a huge honor, and I feel much delight of having you today joining us, representing the energy industry. I am hosting this session, so I'm going to ask a few questions, but also for you joining, there is time to ask the questions to those two that come on board today. So anything that you think is important to raise, flag, or where you're just curious about, do not hesitate to write in the chat. The function is on the left hand or on the right hand side, depending on how your Zoom is set up. You cannot use your mic, you cannot use your video, because we're live. We're live on YouTube. We're live and recording this live, so we cannot allow people to speak up, unfortunately. Maybe another time we are live and then we can enable it in real time. But for now, use the chat function for your questions. The way we structured this, coming 20-25 minutes, we're going to have a discussion guided with questions between Jessie and Sólrún. And the other remaining time, we would like to see your questions and moderate that through me as your host. Jessie, I'm going to start with you. Could you give a short introduction, who you are, why you think this is important, and why you immediately said yes when I asked you to be our pioneer in this session?
Thank you very much. I believe you can hear me very well.
Perfect.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here, to be a part of the pioneering session. And it's very interesting, and I'm overexcited, as you can see, very overexcited. My name is Jessie Nyokabi, and I'm currently, as I speak, in Nairobi, Kenya. And been working in the energy industry for the last 8 years. That means I'm very young. And I'm always very passionate about the energy industry, because energy is an enabler, and it makes things happen. That's why I love most about the energy industry. And apart from that, the critical and the biggest thing about geothermal for me is that it gave me my postgraduate topic that I've been working on. And that's why you always see me overexcited about geothermal, because I believe in geothermal, I believe in the future of geothermal, and I believe geothermal is able to take us to where we believe the world should be. And I'm very excited also that this year I was able to take part in the World Geothermal Congress, and also to be part and parcel of the youth forum, to be part of the committee that was working on the youth forum. And one of the things I believe in is that the future is now, and the future is in the young people. if you are able to work with the young people in the geothermal sector, the young professionals that are joining the energy sector and the junior professionals that have been there for a few years, we will be able to take this industry where we believe it is supposed to be. The most exciting thing is that we are in an era where innovation and technology is taking part, and some of the most excited people when it comes to innovation and technology is the young people. That's why we need to work with these young people. Thank you very much.
Excellent, Jesse, and thank you for joining. Sólrún, over to you for the introduction, who you are, why you think this is important, and also what you want to contribute to represent, of course, the energy leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Marit. Yes, hi everybody. I'm very honored to be here with you on this first ever forum for the IGA. I'm at the board of the IGA, and I'm really passionate about what we can contribute as a sector, the geothermal, to making good in the world. That's why I, gave my name up for being into the board of IGA. And one of the things that I'm most passionate about is how we can enhance our skill set to take a bigger part in the biggest, let's say, how do you say it? Like, for example, a crisis that we are facing regarding equal distribution of goods or prospects around the world that geothermal can have a big impact on, that we all have access to the energy needed that a society can prosper, and also tackle the environmental issues we're facing by using renewable energy in much larger scale. So that's what I'm passionate about. And I know that one of the hindrance in the sector as a whole, the energy sector as a whole, in reaching its full potential and scaling up for society is that we are one of the least diverse sector in the world. And that is my second most passionate thing I work on, is that we need more diversity, more voices, and we need more opinions and more backgrounds, let's say diversity, to take better decisions and utilize the the opportunities that this sector has at the moment of being fast growing, contributing to everything that I just mentioned before. I am 20 years in to the energy sector. I'm the CEO of Veitna, which is the distribution sector of Reykjavík Energy. Reykjavík Energy is the largest energy company in Iceland. Veitna is the largest part of Reykjavík Energy. So we service 2/3 of Icelanders for hot water, cold water, sewage, and electricity. So I've been in my position now for 2 years, but before that, I was 18 years head of HR for Reykjavík Energy. So human resources is my background, where I have passionately worked on changing the culture of this old company, which was founded more than 100 years ago, to be in more of a diverse, inclusive workplace. And the reason that I maybe was asked to take the role of CEO of Veitna was both, of course, I have an extensive knowledge of Veitna, but also what Veitna so desperately needed was to be, let's say, they desperately needed to go faster into the future and be more diverse. So that's what I'm working on. I don't have a technical background. Most of my people are technical people, but I know culture and I know diversity, and that's what I'm working for.
Excellent. And what a strong statement that you make here. I mean, seeing for yourself that even in a very open country like Iceland, there is still a need for fast movement towards diversity and inclusion. I think that is a very strong statement that is very encouraging for the entire world to know that there is still things that need to be improved in a country that is often seen and quoted as the most, most open and most diverse in terms of its female male, but also in terms of its diversity in the ranks, young people getting promotion quite early on in their careers, and still you're needed to drive that. So Sólrún, great to have you.
Thank you.
Jesse, we were together in Beijing, okay, and I was delighted to see you, of course, throughout the 3 days, but I'm zooming in, of course, on our youth forum. Can you tell me, or us in general, not just me, your observations? What sticks with you when you look back at that afternoon, and why do you think it is important that we continue this drive towards seeking the voice and making the voice of the youth heard throughout the world?
Thank you very much. It's an interesting question, and because I have also interesting answers to give and to share with the rest of the attendants. One of the great things is that we have young generations who want to come into the geothermal sector. But again, sometimes they feel like they are not, so that they don't feel like they are welcomed in a way where they feel like they are at home. So that's why you find most of the time, whenever you talk about geothermal, it's very rare to find the younger generation coming out. Most of the time, they feel like they are not part of the discussion. So one of the most interesting things from the youth forum is where the youth themselves came together and discussed what they felt they needed to discuss about the issues they have with the geothermal sector when it comes to the young professionals. And this one was an inspiring that the young people are willing to be part and parcel of this discussion about geothermal. And they are willing to come on board, and not just for a job, but also to drive this sector to higher heights. And that's why you find most of the young generations, they are very inspired in terms of innovation, in terms of technology. They want to bring a lot of crazy ideas. And sometimes they come with that extra positive energy, and sometimes they are mistaken to be like, oh, you people, you come slow, you are coming very fast. But this extra energy, if you can be able to tap it and use it to use it within the geothermal sector, we will be able to be very far. One of the most interesting things also is that apart from also looking at the jobs where most young people, when they finish campus or universities and colleges, they come looking for jobs. The current generation of young people we have is that they're also coming out of university with a lot of innovations in their mind, but they don't know where do I start, so that these innovations can be grown and can be modeled, they can be packaged in a way that they can be able to be brought forth. And one of the most interesting things is that you find also, because they might not have matured to the level of where the industry can ensure them with funding, sometimes they miss from the funding. Like currently, there are a lot of organizations that are giving grant funding. Why is it that we don't see young people in the geothermal sector getting this grant funding? It's because they don't know how to package the idea so that it can be funded for some of these crazy ideas. So this is one of the best things that IGA has done. Now, taking these young people, working with them, listening to them, they have issues, listening and giving them solutions and directing them where to get more solutions, we will be able to take this geothermal sector to where it is. And one of the things I have been discussing with the younger generation is that we need not to sing about the geothermal decade until we get to 2030. By the time we get there, we need to showcase to the world, what did we do within the decade? If you don't have answers, ask the younger people. The world will not be looking at those seniors who have been in the industry. They will be looking at the younger generation. They are the people who have the energy. They have the positive energy. They have just come from the university. So they feel like they are obsessed in doing these things, and they can do it to the level that they can be able to do it. So that is the best thing. So to me, I'm looking forward to see more of these discussions. Mm-hmm. We shall be coming as a younger generation to you, our seniors. We shall work with you. We shall tell you where our issues are so that you can be able to work with us. I know using leveraging on the IGA, we can be able to go to the other institutions that maybe like they're giving the grant funding. They can be able to tell us, how do we package these younger people ideas so that it can be funded for some of these innovations to be grown and homegrown in each and every country. That is my take. Thank you.
Super. Well, thank you. And I concur, of course, with some of the observations in the room as well. I mean, the voice was clear. It was loud and clear what was, let's say, the call to action to undertake. And that is indeed this whole, let's say, convening of the youth globally. And of course, we recognize, and I guess we all recognize that the differences are there between the continents, between the countries, between where you're coming from, between what level of expertise you bring to the table. But I agree with you, Jesse, that part of the discussions were really centered around how can we get more information to us? How can we share more information amongst ourselves? But also how can we play a more integrated role in the entire sector? And for that, Sólrún, moving over to you, you have been on a path towards, seeking, of course, also for yourself, you're navigating your career. You have been young, now you're a senior leader. When you hear this from Jesse, and what would be your observation on how did you do this? I mean, how did you challenge maybe your peers and your seniors? Sometimes confronted them with, "Hey, listen to me. I am the one. Take me as your next director or your next CEO." Can you maybe explain a little bit about your navigation of your career within Veitna or within Reykjavík Energy?
Yeah, so I actually just started after I finished my master's as a summer intern just at Reykjavík Energy. So that's where I started. So I know exactly how it feels to like really want to have an opportunity to let my voice be heard. And this is only my one journey, but I've witnessed many. So what I would like to say is put yourself out there and not have like do not be afraid to have a voice, to opinion, to senior leaders. What I find that young people, sometimes, like for me, they do not approach me. They're afraid of me because I'm a CEO, or they don't feel confident to come and talk to me about things. I'm rather outspoken and rather open person, so it's more easy to approach me than many people. And I'm also very aware of what is needed in my company is that we have more voices at the table. So I put myself out there to the young people and talk to them and tell them that I need your opinion on this because I'm not technical savvy. I know you burn for sustainability. I know you come with the newest knowledge regarding both tech, AI, sustainability that I don't have. Even though I have passion for this, I'm not the most knowledgeable about it because my knowledge is, getting outdated. You are the one that I need to help us further, but not all C-suite members go there. So if I had one advice to you is go up to those people, talk to them about your passion, talk to them about what you burn for and what you can see happening in their, for example, department or their sector or their company, and how you are passionate about it. I guarantee you every C-suite member will be enthusiastic to have people come and tell them how passionate they're about their focus areas, and they will notice you. Not all of them will offer you a job, right away and say, okay, come and be in my C-suite. But that is the single most thing that you can do, because also I know that unfortunately the energy sector is still, even though I've been challenging, we need to be more diverse. We need to be less male dominated. In my area, I know it's different in Africa, but in Europe, we need to be less middle-aged white men. We need to be more diverse, and we are servicing the whole society, and we need to represent the whole society in the way we decide things. Unfortunately, things are not moving very fast. So you can't put your trust on the C-suite to change this, because it won't happen naturally. It's, in my opinion, this is my opinion, it won't happen naturally. You will have to make it happen. And that's why we say call for action. Yes, I need you to go and change this, because I have more confidence in that the youth will change this than the C-suite member of the companies today. That's just my observation. So just go out there, let your voices be heard, and there will be people that will be like your passion and will notice you.
Yeah, I like it. I can see that, and yes, there's always you can do a lot yourself in order to get out there and to indeed to do not fear for the CEO or the C-suite member, because after all, they've been in your position as well, and they need you. Because what I really liked about the youth declaration was the geothermal youth, at least, calling themselves "We are the future." And let's be honest. I mean, without young people coming into the geothermal sector, there will be no geothermal by the end of the decade. Maybe still a little bit, but after that, it's done. It's over. I mean, it is paramount and crucial that we not only inspire the youth to go and study geothermal, to be part of our workforce, but also to get training, to get the education, and to set themselves up for being the next generation leader in all these projects, companies, in the cities, in the communities, etc., etc. So I like your advice. Stand up there, make yourself heard, go after it, and don't be afraid. I like it. And at the same time, there is also a huge responsibility for the senior leaders to watch out and to look around and to be aware of the talents that are everywhere on this globe, that are not necessarily the same as you are, because they come maybe from different countries, from different regions, they have different backgrounds, and they studied maybe something else, but there still could be a valuable attribute and talent to your workforce. I like that as a call to action to our industry as well. Let me focus a little bit on education, because I got in the Beijing workshop, but also afterwards, I got quite a few requests for how can we, not just only as IGA, but also as a community, how can we source education and getting people the right skills in order to prepare themselves for that sort of next term assignment or making themselves heard. Jesse, to you, the role of education, the role of training, but also offering that in digestible packets that everyone can enjoy, because let's be honest, the world is different when you come from Europe, when you come from Africa. So how can we make sure that we tailor education, for instance, to your region, for instance, to Africa as a whole, but how can we make sure that we get the right education and the right capacity building to the geothermal youth in your, let's say, direct contacts and in your community? What do you think?
Thank you very much. The education part will be very critical if we are to build a professional pool that we are looking forward to. And the way we shall stem it, it will also be very critical, because it is what will relay if truly we'll be able to reach to where we want to go. So when you look at education, we need to kind of, most of the people when they leave the university, they leave with their background profession training. That is, like for me, the training in engineering, that is what I did. But coming to the industry, that now you need to go to the professional training so that you're able to get now the core skills that are much more custom made for geothermal. And this is where now it's very critical, because again, the question is always on opportunity for this education. We need to look back and ask ourselves, has there been some opportunities? Yes. Has those opportunities reached out to each and every young person who would have wanted to be in geothermal? No. And that one I'd say on behalf of Africa. So the few opportunities that have been there, they have been given to maybe a few people within the industry. So most of the young people are just passionate in terms of geothermal from what they have read from books and online. But in terms of the core competence that comes from the professional training and capacity building, they have not been able to get that opportunity. And that is one of the biggest issues, especially I have with our African continent. So these young people, unless we train them, they will not be able to go to where they wanted to have gone. And it is not them that will be losers. It is the industry that will be losing this mind. These people are able to bring the innovation that I'm talking about, the technologies that I'm talking about. But unless they are guided, they have like the capacity building skill, they have been able to be taken through the capacity building. They will not be able to go to pursue what they could have wanted. So this is one of the areas that really we need to rethink, and we need to check back what has been done previously, so that when we soldier on to what next from here, we are able to have a clear roadmap on where we shall be going. And if we don't do that, we might find ourselves making the same mistakes that have been made previously in our history. So when it comes to education, I can say nothing much has been done that could have satisfied the industry. And that's why the younger generation feels like they are not part of the industry. They have not been welcomed into the industry. So even if they thought they had these good ideas they wanted to bring, they feel they are not part of the industry. The reason being is even the few opportunities that could have been there, already they are taken by others. And so most of them, they are left out, especially the younger generation who are maybe very fresh from the university. That is, probably they have not gotten their first job, or they have even gotten the first job. They are told you can wait for those who have been in the industry for a longer period to take these positions. So by the time these people are reached the point where now they're taken for this capacity building, a few years have gone. So those crazy ideas that were in their head, they have evaporated and they are gone. And that's where the issue is coming from. So this is something we need to rethink in terms of the education, in terms of training, in terms of capacity building when it comes to geothermal. But the best thing is that we have the industry presented by Sólrún. We have the advocacy of IGA presented by Marie, which means now we are sure we are in safe hand. We shall be able to go to where we wanted to go. Thank you.
Well, Jesse, thank you for these encouraging words at the end, but I really listened to what you say in between, and that is indeed something that is very close to all of our missions if we want to grow the industry, and that is that we have to create the right opportunities for those people who are, especially in your jurisdictions. I mean, East Africa, Africa as a whole, I mean, it is very difficult to get the right people trained on the job, the internships, flying all over the world, learning from the geothermal development. This is exactly, I think, what you're talking about. We should generate that, and that is something that is close to the mission statement of IGA. I'm happy to have Sólrún in this room, who is also part of our board. But when you listen to this, Sólrún, when you listen to this, and it's very encouraging that Jesse still believes in us as IGA, so I'm very happy. But Sólrún, I mean, this is a call to action, right? We have to listen to this call to action. But how exactly we can structure channel and make this happen is, of course, step 2. But when you hear this, what are your immediate thoughts?
I just immediately want to go into action because the opportunities are so big. So my head just starts spinning, you know, how can we, for example, like we talked about in the IGA board, how can we maybe make a fast track of training more available to the continents where the big opportunities are, and also in the same time, I think, wow, I can learn so much from those as well, because Iceland being in the front run of geothermal, we are also kind of maybe a little bit arrogant regarding our ability to learn from new experiences, other challenges that can maybe help us even move faster into doing good for society. So what I am immediately thinking about, how can we launch for example, the IGA Academy, and how can we have a call to action to the companies like my company, and I know other companies that really wanna, do something extra than just their business. They wanna enhance the role of geothermal for the world, we can say. And we can do that through IGA, I believe. I think we can, but we need your voices, so we, the old group, don't tailor those training towards our, let's say, old minds. So that's what I was mainly thinking about, because we've been talking about doing something with the IGA Academy and bringing training out there. but I think we need to put some young voices into that discussion.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this is also part, you know, Jesse, at the end of the day at our youth forum, we discussed about the youth committee. We discussed about how to structure that. And I saw that Jan Long was in this room, but he had to go. But next time he will be our guest in this show as well. And I am very, very interested in, of course, not only facilitating a committee, but also understanding how such a committee would indeed bring all the points that are so pertinent and so crucial towards not only just the IJ board, but to the wider community. So a structure is crucial. Would you agree, Jesse, that a structure is crucial, and getting the people in that structure to voice out for the needs?
Exactly. We need to have a structured discussion, as you have said, and it starts with the youth committee itself, so that we are able to have the clarity of exactly how this discussion need to go forward. Because at the end of the day, the senior people will come on board in terms of support to make it happen. But in terms of the structure and how things will flow, it's us, the young generation, who need to be at the forefront. We are the one who understand what are the challenges. We are able to be very vocal about these challenges. So now we have been given a platform to share these challenges. Now let us go forward. So we need a very structured discussion. We need to have everything on board in terms of like the youth committee, so that we can be able to take this discussion to the next level. As Marita said, Long is already having a discussion behind the scene of the youth committee. And we know before the end of this month, there will be a discussion behind also the scene in terms of that, so that when we go to IGA now, we'll have a more conclusive discussion that has already taken place within the youth committee. So this one, we are very serious about it. And one of the most inspiring things is that we agreed 2026 will be coming soon than we think. We'll be going to Canada soon than we think.
Yes.
So we need to rush and do things so that by the time we go to World Geothermal Congress 2026, we will have something to show to the world. And this will be very inspiring even to the rest of the community within the geothermal sector, that this is a movement that is going. So we are here to stay. Thank you.
Yes, you are here to stay for sure. You're here to lead the next generation also for sure. I like it that you're bringing Calgary, by the way, Jesse, because Canada 26 is a good sort of dot on the horizon to work towards, because that gives us 2.5 years to it sounds like 3 years, but it's actually not, because it's June 26th, and I'm counting already the days because I know how hard it is to organize such a huge event. But I'm with you. I think this is important to have that on the agenda, to work towards that date and to come in full force to Calgary 26 with an entire youth forum. Calling not only to action in terms of the urgency of the climate dialogue, but also for the geothermal sector, to know that there is ample talent to be trained and to be educated and to be built the capacity with and on. Sólrún, I know you are not, let's say, the geothermal engineer. You're not a geothermal job. I appreciate that. But one of the questions I got, and Helen, thank you for raising it. We need the people who have, let's say, the right type of degree to enter into geothermal, and the right type of degree, as you yourself as well, is not necessarily just a geologist or a reservoir engineer or a petroleum engineer who moves away from petroleum to geothermal. It is all sets of skills and mindsets, and hence also certain degrees. Now, how do you inspire people to choose energy and to choose specifically, of course, geothermal? Because what we see, and I guess this is not just a US, EU type of challenge, Jesse, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it in the African context. But what we see is that anything to do with energy attracts less and less people, because people are not so interested anymore in the energy sector. They go to the AI, they go to programming, they go to the computer sciences in general, or they just work as a marketeer or a branding officer. But energy and contributing towards the energy future is getting less and less attraction. So Sólrún, on your behalf, how can we inspire young people to not only dedicate their time and their efforts and their skills to energy and also geothermal, but also to make it an attractive business to contribute with a purpose towards towards society? What are your observations there?
I think that our biggest opportunity is that no society today can prosper without energy. We are the foundation of quality of life. We are the foundation of quality of life. And young people are even more passionate about bringing something good to the world than my generation, which is even passionate about it. But I know young people are even more passionate about it. So we need to harness that the energy sector, and especially green energy like geothermal, is contributing to the foundation of quality of life, and you can have a big impact to many societies that are now struggling with quality of life. And also, young people today are very passionate about sustainability and that the company that they work for has some kind of good purpose. So I think that is where we should be focusing our, let's say, marketing to young people. But we are also very, very rational, and we want to enter into a sector where we have prospect of growing, where we have prospect of having long-term opportunities, where we have prospect of doing diverse things. And there is this sector, the geothermal in particular, is a fast-growing sector at the moment. It's in high demand of skilled people. It's in high demand of you having like let's say a career, not only in a growing company, but also in a growing sector all over the world. And as we are now in war for talent in geothermal, you have more opportunity to have like a fast growing, let's say, track to make something good to the world with us than many other sectors. Then I also want to mention, because you mentioned it, that we as a sector need to stop looking at just STEM being geothermal. We need to start thinking that we have maybe enough of STEM people. We need more artists, people with social background, social skill background. We need more of a diversity into also educational, because that's where we'll be like fostering teamwork, is by just not having only STEM or geologic people in solving this huge task that we have to be the foundation for quality of life. So I think also we need to attract to the youth forum the diversity of different skill set as well. So yeah.
Yeah, nice. I like it. I was speaking to a wonderful student from Leeuwen University yesterday, Mohammed. If you're here, then thank you for bringing it up to set up a student chapter under universities with IGA, because they got very interested about how they can contribute towards making themselves, of course, heard, but also how they can contribute from a university point of view to contribute to geothermal energy from various disciplines, not just engineering. And I think you're right, Sólrún. This is so for those who don't know STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, that's a typical sort of breadth of students that we see typically choose geothermal then in their masters, or they grow into a professional career. But I like it, the arts, the creative, the social, but also the policies. I mean, look, there is not going to be geothermal if we don't have the right policies. So any type of policy, international affairs, policy making, people that have an interest in geothermal should be welcomed indeed to the table, and hence grow their career. I like it that you said purpose and the sustainability and making companies accountable for their pathway into a sustainable future. I think, if I am correct by saying this, Jessie, so you are the one to answer this, but that is important to every youth and every young person, isn't it? The fact that we can contribute to a sustainable, healthy life on this planet. We only have this planet to live on, let's be honest, until we shoot into Mars. But for the moment, it is just Earth that we live on. Do you agree? Sustainability is a key driver for young people to contribute towards geothermal?
very interesting question because I've experienced it recently, I think this year. The younger generation is very, very concerned about the climate change and issues to do with sustainability. And one of the most interesting things that I saw this year is where the younger generations they are looking for an item to be branded sustainable. It has been produced in a sustainable way. They will be there. Interestingly, just that is enough advertisement. If you're doing any production and you just show the younger generation how it was produced sustainably, that is enough advertisement. They are very critical about the sustainability issue because we believe the future belongs to the younger generation. So they are the people who will be here 50 years to come, maybe, God willing, 50, 70 years to come. So whatever they are doing today, it will catch up with them. That's why sustainability is becoming a critical element of discussion within the younger people. If you look at things to do with climate change, some of the most proactive people, proactive groups globally, even here in Kenya, even in Africa, it's the younger generation. The rest of like the politicians and the governments have just come on board to support the younger people because of these discussions they are having, a very powerful discussion about the climate change and sustainability aspects. So when it comes to sustainability question in the geothermal sector, some of the best ambassadors to sustainability, geothermal being very sustainable is the younger generation. Because they are on social media, they are everywhere, you'll find them within the social media. They will be the ambassadors. They're the one who will be telling people, how is this geothermal so sustainable? Why are you people talking too much about geothermal? What is it this about geothermal and sustainability? And another thing most interesting with the younger generation, and I have seen them support so much geothermal, is the question on how producing geothermal sustainably makes even our life much more better. We are able to live life at a better way than if we were not sustainable. So the question on sustainability is one critical question that the younger generation will be asking. And as far as we can be able to bring that discussion in the room, be sure you will find a lot of younger people there. And another thing I think I've seen is where in Kenya, we have the Australian development company producing flowers. So they brand their flowers that they have been produced using geothermal, which is very sustainable. And just that, a flower. Even you didn't plan to, even if you didn't plan to buy a flower, and you just find that it has been produced through geothermal and it has, and geothermal is sustainable, you find people will just want that flower, to buy that flower because it brings them to home more in terms of the sustainability. Yeah, that is my input.
Yes, fantastic. Yes, the geothermal, I've been there. I was very fortunate to see it myself, and it is amazing. And but indeed, the geothermal flower, geothermal sustainability and products, I am a big fan. We should do more of it. Jesse, spot on. I like it. And in relation to that, it's very interesting in some certain comments that we have been receiving throughout this conversation. One of it is a good idea, actually. In terms of mentoring, we should, you know, as IGA, and maybe Sólrún, to you as also as board member, how we can exactly do this, but also with your experience as the HR. I mean, human resources is the human capital of any company. Mentoring, that is a good idea, actually. I like it. Can you maybe say something on mentoring, and maybe you do that as well within your company, and how you can see this happening within the IGA as maybe setting up some mentoring program for the geothermal youth?
Yes, it's a very good idea, because we have been using it a lot here, both just in my company and also in Iceland. We have a lot of people that have a lot of skills that they could use for the youth. And if you ask people to mentor someone younger, in my experience, 90% of people feel honored and say yes. What is very critical to do is to put, in my opinion, is to put some kind of framework around it, because mentoring is not the same as just sitting down and talking. You have to have some kind of framework, and in my experience, that works well. That the mentor is actually helping you with some specific areas you want to work on for a specific amount of time. And it's not complicated to set about. It's not complicated to have like a call to action to different kind of people with more experience in the field to be, for example, through IGA available for people to be mentored about. But I think we should do it like within a framework and not just have it like a chit chat, like me and Jesse would sit down and just start to talk. Of course, that's beneficial, but it's even more beneficial if we put something that Jesse really wants to work on and get like a senior perspective on. And yes, so I think it's a good idea, very good idea.
I love it. And Jesse, on your end, mentoring, is this something that you think is is not only beneficial but also needed in geothermal?
Yeah, very sure. We need mentorship, as Sólrún is saying. We need it to be more of a structured way of having this mentorship, because mentorship is not just people sitting down and having a conversation. You need to have like, where are we? Where do we want to go? And why should I be your mentor? Why should I be your mentee? These are the things that maybe you can be able to pick along the way. But I wanted to borrow an idea from Society of Petroleum Engineers, SPE. I have been, they invited me last year to sit in their board for geothermal technical section. And one of the ideas that we have been working on is where we are able to place mentees and mentors through the website, the SPE website. This is, if you're working in you're developing a career as a drilling engineer, you can be able to be paired with a drilling engineer who has been in the industry for some time. And so when you're having this discussion, it's more of career-wise, and you're able to develop your skills toward that line. Because if you reach out to me maybe for mentorship in terms of geology, I'm not a geologist. Unfortunately, I'm an engineer. But a geologist could have been better to work with you to develop a good career within the geology side, something of the sort. So that is something maybe we can also work along, and it can be a very good. And I think this is also part of a youth committee idea in terms of how can we mentor more of these young people. And mentorship is not only whereby, like, because I'm Kenya, I can only mentor people in Kenya. We need also to have people globally having this discussion. I can have a mentee from Turkey, I can have a mentee from US, I can have a mentee from Iceland, things like that. Because at the end of the day, we need to share these. And I think also mentorship is also a good path for international collaboration, which I'm very passionate about, because we need to be having one voice in terms of the global geothermal community in terms of collaboration. So this is also another way, because if I'm being mentored by somebody who is in Iceland, most of the time they would like to know what is happening in Kenya, and they will also be sharing with me what they are happening in what is happening in Iceland. So that is some of the great contribution that we can look forward to. And I can also give an example that I've been under the mentorship of Professor Füsen from Turkey. And I think we did a paper in 2020 on the comparative analysis of geothermal in Turkey and Kenya. So we shared the differences, and through that mentorship, I've been able to learn so much about Turkey. So this is something we need to put forward. We need to have it as one of our key areas that we shall be able to work on, even as youth committee. Yes, thank you.
Excellent. I like it with the mentees and the mentor, and of course SPE is a strong organization, and I'm very happy to see copy it is also good, but also see how we can maybe also interact together and make the whole bigger, so to speak. So I like it very much. Yeah, Alma, you raised a very interesting point on doing a survey. I think that is also something that we haven't done. And Jesse, maybe shed your light on this. A survey under the geothermal, well, within our community, of course, to do a survey on how many youth members are working where, on what, and doing a really categorized sort of structured approach towards where people are, where they are based, where they, for instance, contribute to a certain discipline. I think that could be very interesting also for our youth committee, perhaps, to take on board. But I like the idea very much. What do you think?
Well, that is also part of the area that we need. We are working on behind the scene. As I said, we are already working behind the scene because we need also to have something to show when we come back to IGA, because we need to know who is where, what are they doing, and how can we be able to help them. So do they need a mentor, and which area of specialization are they working on, so that if it's mentorship, we know where exactly to look for a mentor from. So this is part of what has been going behind the scene. So the survey has not yet been done, I can confirm that, but it's part of what is being worked on.
Excellent, excellent. I think, Sólrún, we're coming more or less to the end of the conversation. So we have a few more minutes to sort of reflect on this first episode, but also to make some statements on how we can progress. Now, if you hear this, I bet not everything is new, because you have been working, of course, on HR, Veitna, Reykjavík Energy, Iceland. But it is the first time that we come together like this, and you hear how Jesse expresses himself as representing the youth. What is your immediate sort of reaction on this first episode? Is it something that you think we should definitely pursue? Is this something that the IGA can facilitate in a much greater form? What is your first sort of observations?
Yes, for sure. It's something we should pursue and work on even further. And IGA should, for example, be, running before the youth committee, because what is really, really needed in geothermal today is growth, and we are really, really at shortage of, let's say, new knowledge, new voices, and new skills to be able to do that fast enough, in my opinion. And so that the youth committee or the youth is heard, some other voices need to talk less. So that is where I think IGA can make some headway for the youth in just making us that are there before the youth understand how critical it is for the youth to be heard and taking into considerations when we make future decisions from now on. So I'm not sure how. I'm still a little bit, there's lots we can do. It's mentee, mentor, it's webinars, it's us bringing focus to every meeting we're on with every C-suite member we talk to. But it's, I think it's something we should take up on the next board meeting, for example, on how we can be in the front to enhance the voices of the youth, because that's what this sector desperately needs, in my opinion.
Yeah, love it, love it. I love your encouraging words, Sólrún. Of course, together being part of the let's say IGA wider steering committee and board and operations, I'm sure we can facilitate this in a very structured and a fast-paced setting. Moving over to Jesse, as always, the pace setter for this. I mean, look, I am delighted that you came on board today and pioneering this. I know your voice is an important one, not only for Kenya, not only for Africa, but also for geothermal worldwide. I mean, everyone knows you, Jesse. Everyone knows you, so your voice is important. When you hear this, and when you read through the comments, and when you're part of the youth committee or the soon-to-be structured youth committee, I mean, for you, this is, what are your observations? Is this important? How can we best progress? What are your first reflections on this episode and beyond?
One of the most interesting things is that when you reached out that we shall have this pioneering, I was excited, because we have talked and talked for so many years, but this was a call for action. This is already a call to action, because we are here and we are having a discussion. So for me, I think it's a new dawn, it's a new beginning, and moving forward, overexcited because the younger generation now, they can speak and they have someone who will listen to them. You Sólrún and Marit being here is already inspiration to the younger generation. And as I said, when we shared the link on different social media, what inspired the younger generation was that this discussion has started. It means these people are serious. It means these people are welcoming us, so we shall be there. We shall come, we shall work together, and we shall take this geothermal to where it's supposed to be. And that already was very inspiring, and that's why I believe this is already a start. And you Don is here with us. Let us do the best we can so that we can be able to go to the next level. To the younger generation, I always tell you, it took the madness of the older generation for us to be where we are. Now, it's our turn to become mad men and women and take this geothermal sector to the next level. We must invent the future, and the future is us, and the future is now. Let's do it. That's my submission.
Super. I mean, I cannot add anything more eloquent than this to this show of today. So I'm ending by saying thank you, Sólrún, thank you, Jesse, for coming together today. This was the first step, and as we all know, the hardest is the beginning. The rest will come. So the first step we took, and I am convinced we will be marching on to bring prosperity towards our societies worldwide, but also to geothermal. Growth is what we need. I completely concur here. Structure at the same time as well. So for that, next episode is going to be in November. It's going to be on the 8th, and I will definitely have Jan Long with me, who is one of the instigators of the Youth Forum and hence also of the Youth Committee. We're going to talk about structure then, but also about how to channel all of this that we have not only observed today, but also over the past months and hopefully in the coming future as well, because the structure is going to be crucial how we are going to do this in effect and with impact in the coming years to 26 in Calgary, Canada. I'm delighted that this is brought up today as well. Indeed. We have a WhatsApp group for those who are interested in joining us on a weekly basis for the latest news, but also where you can share news out of your own home country, your community, your project, your initiatives. We have opened up a WhatsApp group. Gregor has very kindly shared that also in this chat. If you don't know how to, or if you don't have access to WhatsApp or whatever, you let us know. I'm sure we can figure out how best to integrate. I am very happy. I'm very happy with this first step. Jesse, Sólrún, again, you came on board, you contributed, and thank you for your insights. And of course, the audience, thank you for joining. Thank you for registering. Thank you for being part today with your fantastic observations and your insights in terms of how we can better shape for next time or the structure of the committee. As always, we're very keen to get your feedback. Do not hesitate to reach out to me, myself, or to Gregor, or to Sólrún as IGA board. We are here to help, to facilitate, and to network. And with that, I say bye-bye and thank you all. Come home safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.